Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Courtney. I'm a full-time crochet designer and educator, and today I'm going to show you how to make a pom-pom just like this without needing any special tools like those plastic pom-pom makers. Before we get started, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel for future educational crochet content, free pattern tutorials, and crochet vlogs. To make your pom-pom, you're going to need 20 to 30 grams of yarn to make the same size as me, a piece of cardboard, some sharp scissors, and a crochet hook that has a big enough hook to hold your yarn. For example, I'm using worsted weight yarn for my pom-pom, so I wouldn't want to use a 2mm hook. You'll want a piece of cardboard that is about 10 centimeters or 4 inches wide and 15 centimeters or 6 inches long. You can make your pom-pom any size you'd like though. The width of your piece of cardboard is what dictates the size of your pom-pom. For every inch more or less you make your piece of cardboard, do 20 more or fewer wraps of your yarn. You can make your pom-pom using any weight of yarn you'd like. You can also mix and match. For example, maybe you use a strand of bulky yarn with a strand of sparkly yarn, whatever you like. You'll need between 20 and 30 grams of yarn total to make your pom-pom the same size as mine, roughly 10 centimeters or 4 inches in diameter. You also don't need to use 3 strands of yarn at once like me. You can use as few as 1 and as many as you'd like. I use all 3 at once so that the colors are evenly distributed throughout my finished pom-pom. Begin by pinching your yarn between your thumb and the cardboard with a little bit of the yarn hanging over the edge like this. Then, being sure to not pull the yarn too tight, loosely wrap it around the piece of cardboard a total of 90 to 100 times. Since I'm holding 3 strands together, they each count as one. I'm really only doing 30 to 35 wraps in total. Now, I like my pom-poms a little bit scraggly, a little rough around the edges. If you want one that's more thick and full, do an additional 20 to 40 wraps of the yarn. Additionally, the thicker the yarn you are using, the fewer wraps you will need to do. So if you're using a super bulky yarn, you might only need to do like 50 wraps instead of 90. And if you're using a thinner yarn, you might need to do like 200 wraps in order to achieve the same result. Once you've completed all of your wraps, it should look something like this, nice and squishy and full of yarn all the way across your piece. Then you'll just need to cut your yarn. Next, you are going to cut 2 lengths of yarn around 8 inches or 20 centimeters in length. Then, using your crochet hook, slide it between the cardboard and the yarn wraps on one side of the piece of cardboard like this, making sure all the yarn wraps are above your hook. Carefully put the scrap yarn onto your hook and then rotate or turn your hook down and towards the cardboard and pull the scrap yarn all the way through like this. Then carefully tie the yarn together as tightly as you possibly can to secure this half of the pom-pom. Then flip your cardboard over and repeat this process on the opposite side. Once both sides are tightly tied, carefully shimmy the yarn off the piece of cardboard. Then cut another length of yarn around 50 centimeters or 20 inches in length. Wrap this yarn through the whole center of your pom-pom over the 2 previous ties and tie as tightly as possible. Now you will begin trimming and shaping your pom-pom. You will cut every single loop all the way around the entire pom-pom. You can trim the 2 smaller ties to match the height of the loops, but make sure not to cut the long tie because that's what you're going to use to secure it to your hat or your project. I hold my pom-pom using the long tie in my non-dominant, non-cutting hand. Begin cutting every loop. You want to try and cut them through the center or like the furthest point away from those center ties. And make sure that you get every single loop, kind of flicking them with your finger to make sure that you didn't miss any in the center. Once you've cut all the loops, it's time to shape the pom-pom. I begin with a rough trim of all of the longer pieces that are kind of sticking out and any oddly shaped sections. I find my pom-poms to be a little taller through that center line all the way around, so I take a little extra yarn off that area. You may find it helpful to bunch all the yarn together like this to see any of those irregularities. Keep trimming until you are happy with the shape and size of your pom-pom, giving it little shakes in between to make sure that all the trimmings are falling out and any random long pieces show their faces so you can trim them. Once you are happy with your pom-pom, you can use those two long yarn ends to secure your pom-pom to your hat or your project. If you find your pom-pom is a little floppy on your head, you can try placing a big button inside of your hat, and you just pull the two tails through the button on the inside of your hat and tie it in a bow like a shoelace. And I don't know why this works or how this works, but it stops your pom-pom from flopping around on your head. And that's it. That's how to make a yarn pom-pom. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel for future crochet content, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on my upcoming free pattern tutorials. Thank you for watching. Happy crocheting. Bye-bye.